All right, we're back. It's been a little time away for us here at America's Best Racing, but we are excited to be back for Woodbine Live. This is the path to the plate, and it kicks off today at Woodbine with the Woodstock Stakes. So we're pumped to be here. I'm Dan Tordjman with America's Best Racing. Chase Sessoms with us, Jessica Paquette, JD Fox. We usually go around the room and talk a bunch. We catch up. We don't have time for that today. So we're going to do two races. We're going to do the Woodstock Stakes. And we're also going to do this race right here, the sixth race at Woodbine, a really, really fun 7-furlong allowance race. I want to dive right into it. Chase, since you're nearest to me here on this little layout, you're going to set this up. What do you like?
Listen, this looks like a extreme pace scenario. I know it's been really hard for horses to hold on the front end in this race. And I also find the term cheap speed derogatory, so I'm going to say I'm all over the inexpensive velocity with number 7, Martin River. I want
Jojo for
this horse to steal it on the front. I'm trying to boom it right off the bat.
Nice. I am with you, brother. I actually like that horse a lot. I think he's going to be alone in the lead. JD, what do you think?
The rider is Justin Stein.
Well, Riptide Rock, who we just saw go through the screen, obviously was second in the Queen's Plate last year, so getting a debut for the year. But this is a very deep field.
11,
we have one loose leader potentially, and a horse I know you like, Dan, in the 7. He's 30 to 1 on the board right now. But as I think we're done hearing Robert Geller, so we'll have a little more sanity in our eardrums. But there is a chance that, the 7 at 30 to 1 can just take a very loose lead in this race. But you've got Riptide Rock, one of the best closers on the grounds at Woodbine, restarting the year, getting off to a good start in 2022. I think probably the class of this field, but is needed on a pace-dependent setup.
Yeah, so there's the question of pace. There's the question of class. You do have an interesting horse here. In the 6, Helium, with obviously significant back class, winning the last year Tampa Bay Derby, comes back as a first-time gelding. Jessica, where did you land, and kind of how did you make sense of this entire setup?
So I think it all really depends on what Helium does, right? This is a horse that does, in some of his efforts, have a little speed. He can be a little forwardly placed. He's versatile. I wouldn't hold that last race against him last August. Obviously, something went awry. He went to the sidelines after that. So he was pretty far off the pace that day, but I don't know if that's necessarily what he's really capable of. He is one of those horses that I was looking through his past performances. I entirely forgot he ran in the Derby. And his performance was relatively forgettable, to be fair.
Yeah.
But this is one of those horses that when they come out of the 3-year-old crop and then they go to the sidelines for a while, you kind of forget they existed. And I think this is an interesting 4-year-old debut or comeback for him. I think he may just be a little too much horse, kind of wherever Emma Jane Wilson wants to put him here. Looks, from what I can see, looks very good and fit off the layoff as well.
So this is the race before the race. The Woodstock Stakes is our feature here today on Woodbine Live. This is the path to the plate. We here at America's Best Racing will be streaming live on a number of big race dates leading up to the Queen's Plate. The Queen's Plate later this year, August 21st at Woodbine. But our path to the plate races, as I mentioned, begin here with the Woodstock Stakes. We're also back for the Queenston Stakes on June 12th. Then you got the Marine Stakes on July 2nd. We've got the plate trial July 24th. Lots of action coming up in the next, 8 to 12 weeks here as we head toward the Queen's Plate. But right now, you're looking at some of the runners. I think there's a good chance here, if you like to pair up a horse between this race and the Woodstock Stakes. The horse I love in the next race is No Balls. He is going to be, I believe, lone speed in that race as well. There is a horse in there named Ironstone, who's the big local horse. We're going to get into that. Who is an Ontario-bred, who was on the path to the plate. And, I think that horse has got a bit of speed, but No Balls comes out of obviously races in which he's consistently shown speed against pretty tough open company. So for me, I'm going to try to pair up a double here to the one horse in the next race. The horses I landed on that I would use in the double are the 7, Martin River, the 9, Riptide Rock, like JD mentioned, a lot to like there. And also like the 3, Cash Dividend a little bit, missed by just a length and a half in the Grade 3 Vigil last year, has races that could win this. So that's the way I'm playing this. Chase, how are you going to approach this from a betting perspective?
I mean, from from just a single race betting perspective, I'm going to have to go across the board on the 7. I really don't very often show bet at 34-1. I'll have some of the show pool there. And then more than likely at that price, I even feel safe boxing. And I know that's kind of a dirty word for some people, but I probably box with Helium in the exacta. And then I'm really going to try to just blow this up with a double here using Martin River and an Ontario-bred that I actually really like to win the Woodstock with the 9 Silent Runner. I'm going to see. I think the pace might be a little bit more contentious. Silent Runner is going to find himself in a really good path, and the horse can close. 7 races at Woodbine. Only missed the exacta once, so I'm going to take that shot.
All right, we got Linda here, and by the way, we encourage people to jump in on the comments. Linda going to use the number 2 in her trifecta. The 2 is Hadassah, a horse who has some back class, and largely has been running longer distances. First off the layoff here, a little bit of a tune-up, maybe going a little shorter. But Linda likes Hadassah in the combinations, and then Barry Spears, the sniper, jumping in, going with number 11 here in race 6. I
agree with Barry with the 11. I think he's on to something there. He's a horse I do like in this spot a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's taking some action too. I mean, he I believe was 5-1 or 6-1 in the morning line. Now 7-2. Would not be surprised. Probably goes up about 3-1. So there's a lot there. And then our friend Travis did not know we were live. A little disappointed. You didn't get the alerts. He was watching Belmont, but the important thing is that he found us. So Travis, awesome to see you here in the stream. Tell your friends, tell your family, join us throughout the path to the plate.
If I can manage to get through the stream without Barry Spears making fun of me with the crying Jordan, then I've won today.
That is his thing. I will attempt to bring some audio back into this. I apologize to everyone whose eardrums I might have blown out earlier with the sound of the race. Let's see if this works. You guys let me know if this sounds good.
Moves up.
All right.
Next to load is Martin River.
46. Woo.
3-7-11 are the 3 horses in for a tag.
Chase is crying Jordan.
Walks into the gate in the last 3. Riptide
because I won a championship and it overwhelmed me.
For Justin Stein, gate number 9. Striking Moon. And to the outside gate, Laposhka. Stand by for a start. This field is set to run, all in, locked up. And as they break a bit slow, Hadassah's back last. Best away, Martin River came out on top of Sail at Sunrise. Away well was Laposhka's Striking Moon, coming to 3rd on the inside, Cash Dividend. And right there is also Helium. And tracking is Bright Devil. There goes Jojo. Slightly checked, it was Dundrum. Riptide Rocks second last early, and Hadassah is the trailer. Out in front, Martin River. Being pressed quickly, though, by Helium 3 wide. Sail at Sunrise, the centre. Caught wide, Laposhka. A nice run up the rail for Cash Dividend. Bright Devil coming through in the centre with Striking Moon the outside. A length away, Dundrum. There goes Jojo. Splitting horses, Riptide Rock. And 3 away last is Hadassah. Out in front, Martin River by 3/4, Helium, Laposhka. Up the rails, Cash Dividend, Sail at Sunrise, the setter. 1 to Striking Moon. In behind them is Dundrum over on the inside. A Bright Devil from there goes Jojo, Riptide Rock, and Hadassah's caught the field. 5/16 to run, and the pressure comes from Helium, but it's Martin River in front. Helium in second, goes ahead clear now as they corner. Cash Dividends had the run of the race. Then in the setter, Sail at Sunrise, Laposhka. As they come down the stretch, Helium's in front. Helium by a long neck, Cash Dividend extricating down the outside. Hadassah, Riptide Rock, they're coming now. Hadassah and Riptide Rock join Helium. Riptide Rock gathers the lead, takes over, class prevails. Riptide Rock, much the best. A length to Helium and Hadassah in a photo with Bright Devil back on the inside. And then Cash Dividend and Dundrum.
I was muted. Sorry, I was talking without any sound. You guys could just jump in too.
That,
you don't really need me for this.
That was a really solid group of horses. I bet we see a couple of them in Stakes Company next time out. That was a very good group.
So, I mean, you just had to go with class at the end of the day. So, winner, second in the Queen's Plate last year, runner-up ran in the Derby previously, and third place, just won the Prince of Wales and competed in all 3 legs of the Canadian Triple Crown last year.
No
That's
big
all
deal.
you needed. That's all you needed for the trifecta.
So, Helium ended up just a way more forwardly placed than I anticipated. Like, I know
that's kind of where I thought he'd be. I didn't think that last race of his was a true indication of where he wants to be.
Well, Steph, the answer is yes. Helium did hang on for second. I mean, look, that was a good run. It was a good run. I was a little disappointed. I thought Cash Dividend was going to get through and do a little bit more, but had to negotiate a little bit of traffic there and couldn't get up. So, but I mean, I'm moving on in this double. It's not going to, obviously, that was probably the shortest price horse that I had in the double that I played. JD, when I was muted, all I was saying was take a bow. Nice call. Good start. And JD's been hot lately. JD, you want to brag a little bit? Tell us how much you've hit in the past couple of weeks.
I'll start and just say this. Obviously, Woodbine is my home circuit, so I tend to do pretty well on these Woodbine lives. And if there's a big long shot, I'll give it. But in this case, Riptide Rock, I felt was going to get the pace set up, and that's what happened. But hit the pick 5 for a buck at Churchill last night, which is pretty good, $7,200. Been doing pretty well so far. Alive to some good things so far at Belmont that's going on, but we're focused on Woodbine now and Riptide Rock, Justin Stein getting to the winner's circle here. We're just going to keep giving winners out during this whole Woodbine segment. We've done it year in and year out. We love following these Woodbine horses in the run up to the Queen's Plate, and we will be giving out winners on this show for sure.
Oh man, he put it all into a little clip that we could cut out for the promo. So thank you, JD. That was very well done. That was perfect. Jessica, I said we usually go around the room, kind of see what everyone's been up to at the start of these shows. We didn't do that at the start of the show, but we haven't seen you in a little while. We haven't done many of these shows, so we're back now. Let the people know what you've been working on.
I was back and forth to Texas at Sam Houston. Now I'm getting ready to go to Colonial this summer, which I'm really excited about. Just ran a half marathon today, casually coming back from a broken back.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter this morning. I was like, you're ridiculous and incredible, but ridiculous.
Well, so this is a terrible but kind of funny story. I'm a very chatty person. Like I feel bad for whoever gets stuck running next to me for a few miles because I'll chat a little bit. I'm talking to this nice gentleman and we're talking about training for a full marathon. And he's like, why do you do one really long run? I'm like, no, I like a lot of 20 milers. He's like, why? I'm like, well, the abuse is sort of the point. And I was like, so what do you do for a living? And he's like, I'm a therapist. And I was like, oh.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I've often mentioned that you running with a bad back, running those distances with a bad back makes you my hero. You being able to run and still have the wind to have casual chit chat conversation makes you my double hero at this point.
We as we wait. Now it went official. Okay, this race is official here. The 6th race, Riptide Rock, your winner, JD Fox with the confident call on this horse, and wins at 9-2. So you're getting a pretty nice return there for just a straight win bet. Chase, our whole game plan with Martin River, I mean, it was a good one, but it just obviously didn't pan out.
I decided to go against what my eyes had been telling me from every single race that I've watched out of Woodbine for the last 2 days. I was like, finally, someone's going to steal it on the front. There was a wire-to-wire winner earlier, but that also happened in a maiden race, that where you tend to have more wire-to-wire winners because passing horses is something that horses kind of usually have to learn. So, I've done that before. I will do it many, many more times, more than likely. So, oh well.
So this is a good segue. If horses on the lead might be up against it. Now, again, we're talking about what level. Are we talking about stakes horses? Are we talking about, lower to mid-level claiming horses? We're talking about, maiden claimers. When it comes to this next race, the Woodstock Stakes, I think it's pretty clearly, and JD, I want to kick it back to you because you kind of could lay the groundwork here a little bit in talking about some of the Ontario breds who are trying to get to the Queen's Plate, and they're up against a horse who is not necessarily on the path to the plate, but is going to be the heavy favorite here when you see the live odds in a moment, and that's No Balls for Larry Ravelli with Rafael Hernandez riding, a horse coming out of the Animal Kingdom Stakes win. Set it up for us, and do you think that this is a horse who on paper looks like it's just going to, have no trouble getting to the lead and settling down in the lead? Do you think that there's anyone here that could beat him?
Well, I'll touch quickly on the horses that are here on the road to the plate. We've got the 4 Ironstone, we've got the 5 Victory Jet, and we've got the 9 Silent Runners. So our friend Jennifer Morrison over on CanadianThoroughbred.com has 2 of these horses, Ironstone and Silent Runner, on her top 15 for Queen's Plate contenders. Ironstone is number 6. Silent Runner is number 15. Ironstone, obviously, second in the gray to God of Love, a horse that tried the Kentucky Derby Trail, ran in the Sam F. Davis for Mark Casse, is still down in Florida. But Ironstone was a pretty strong sprinter with 2 wins last year and 2 stake victories. Silent Runner, interesting, second to Ironstone back in the Clarendon, and we actually have that race if you want to show that, Dan.
Ironstone skips right away and is traveling smoothly. Silent Runner is 3 behind down the lane, and it is still Ironstone with a healthy break. 3 lengths. Silent Runner in second, but Ademar Santos has not even asked Ironstone, and the others are all out in second. And Ironstone, he is just a league of his own in this, the Clarendon Stakes, and piles it on to win with so much left. Ironstone, a very skillful performance. 6 lengths. Silent Runner second.
So you have to factor in those Canadian breds that have been on the sidelines versus, a strong horse like No Balls that's won 2 straight at Turfway. And actually, this will be the 4th different Tapeta surface that No Balls has run on as an early 3-year-old. That's kind of crazy to think about. But obviously, No Balls started the momentum again this year back in the Turfway preview, which I believe we have as well, Dan.
And it's No Balls who shows the way. No Balls in complete control to the top of the home stretch. Long Shot Private Road is second. Tricky Tracky unleashed to the outside in third. From between horses, Determined Kingdom on the wrong lead, but coming at him and coming on. 1 furlong to go in the Turfway preview, and it's No Balls the one to target. It's Determined Kingdom up to the outside from the backfield. Amicable 1/16 left, and No Balls is going to win by a length. Determined Kingdom, a good effort for second.
No Balls has been solid and been on the lead, and that's going to be what we're expecting to see from 2 of those runners that we talked about. We're expecting a duel up front between No Balls and Ironstone, and we'll see if the local charge and Ironstone can push the tempo and run past No Balls, or if it's going to set up for Silent Runner or Northern California Invader in the 3 Unraptured.
Jess, how did you see the pace playing out here? Do you also expect that little battle for the lead? I did see a note on Ironstone, Willie Armada, the horse's trainer, saying that they are trying to get the horse to settle a little bit in his races. So I don't know if that's an indication that they're going to try to have him sit off. I don't know that he wins that way, but what do you think?
It didn't seem to go well last time when they tried to ask him to settle. He seems like a horse that the more you grab a hold of him and ask him to take back a little bit, he gets a little ignorant and wants to fight against that. I think sometimes if you take a horse off their game and whatever they're naturally predisposed to do, you're putting them at a little bit of a disadvantage. I'm fascinated to see Ademar Santos kind of taking his career to this place. He was at Suffolk a million years ago when he first started out, and watching his career trajectory, it did not go the way I thought it was going to go. He's done really well, and this is nice to see. I think he'll be actually he is a very good rider for this horse because he is an aggressive, strong rider. Ironstone, I think your best bet is to send and dare anyone to come with you. That said, I like a horse that can kind of sit just off of that, and maybe I am a company woman. I've been called worse, but Determined Kingdom, coming from Colonial Downs here, that's where he started last summer. He's been training at Fair Hill, and I'm a big believer that happy horses come from Fair Hill. And he seems like the kind of horse to me that is just knocking on the door of getting that big win of his own. He's obviously still kind of green and goofy, not wanting to swap leads, but the more he figures it out, the better he gets.
Jess, we have a special guest. Team, we have a special guest. Live from the Jocks Room at Woodbine is Emma Jane Wilson. How you doing?
I'm very well, guys. How are you doing?
We are well. We are well. We told you specifically that we would not hold you too long because you got to ride in this next race here. You're riding Unraptured coming up in the Woodstock Stakes. But just briefly tell us, Emma, what's it like to be back really at full capacity, and as we start this path to the plate here for 2022?
Well, it's nice to be back to, as I'm sure everyone's talking about, a new normal, but really this is an old normal for us. Starting at the beginning of the season, on time, we start off a little slow, a couple weekends a week, getting going, but pretty happy to get into the full swing of things and have a really fulfilling season this year. So I mean, it's grateful for the horse people, and we're all pretty happy to be swinging on full steam. So.
Jessica, do you have a question?
I do. So tell us what it was like to win the Queen's Plate, kind of a historic moment for you, and what it means to try to get another one under your belt as you're heading towards the road there.
Well, I mean, the Queen's Plate for me was early in my career. It was, one of those things that you write on your goals list as a young rider, and, always a dream. I mean, I'm Canadian. I was born and raised in Brampton, which is about 20 minutes away from Woodbine. So, Woodbine is my home in more ways than one. So to win Canada's horse race, big races are hard to win no matter what they are. And, getting a horse to peak on exactly that day for exactly that race, to go against everybody who's doing the same thing. It's not an easy thing to do. So Mike Fox, the late Morgan Firestone owned, he was primed on that day. He was perfect. And I was truly in awe of the scenario. I still try to think back and remember that moment when we walked onto the course and looked up at the grandstand, and it was full and the energy just beaming out of the fans. So, well, this year's path to the plate, this horse that I'm riding today in the Woodstock is not eligible for the plate, but there's a couple in here that are, and it's a pretty good test because you get these American horses running 7/8, and they get a chance to get a good line on these horses to where they are from their winter progressions from 2 to 3. So this is a really important race, on the path to the plate. You get an idea as to where everybody, what everyone's cards are.
Well, you mentioned that Emma Jane Unraptured just coming in this week to Woodbine to run in the Woodstock was on the track on Thursday. Were you able to get up for that trip? And what do you think about the horse and the chances here coming up?
Yeah, I did get a chance to get a leg over him for his little 3/8 blowout, and I tell you, he really he captured my attention. He's not very big in terms of stance, but he's got some robust body to him, and big old smart eye. He had a good look at me when I got on his back, and I mean, he did everything right. He's only been here a week or so. I mean, I know Rogers had him down through Florida, Kentucky, and he's seen things out out in California. So he's pretty smart, pretty neat individual. And I got to tell you, when I took a nice little hold of him to gallop him around to the backside, and he just had this beautiful, big, robust stride on him, even though he's a little horse. So I'm expecting big things from him today. Like, I really, really am looking forward to it. You look at his form; he knows how to run, and he likes the synthetic. So I'm hoping for another victory today.
Well, it seems like the bettors are on board as well. You're 3-1 currently, and there are a couple of defections from the race, but you are 3-1 second choice currently in the Woodstock Stakes. Emma Jane Wilson, thank you so much for making a few minutes with us here on Woodbine Live.
Absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Emma Jane Wilson popping in from the jocks room. Now that is some serious multitasking. Before she came on, she was in the green room. She's literally putting on her silt, she's putting on the helmet, she's like setting up the camera, and now she's just going out to ride this race. I want to be that cool.
I'll never be that cool.
1% of that cool in my life. Chase, you're pretty cool, generally speaking.
Where's this going?
Look right now, you're talking about her popping in and like going to races and stuff. I was like, I just realized I hadn't left the house in 3 weeks recently.
Oh my God, Chase, what do you think of Emma's horse, Unraptured? I mean, look, the horse is taking action here, so I mean, a very legit contender coming up.
I'm pretty sold on the idea that a horse isn't going to win this race from the front. The more I look at no balls, the more I look at how the track has been playing, the less sold on it I am, and the more I'm looking at horses like Unraptured, like maybe even possibly Victory Jet or All in Sync or Silent Runner. These horses that can sit off and then kind of tip out wide and try to make that closing move up the middle of the track where you see horses really making up ground. Definitely. I mean, if she can get the horse off the rail and into a drive late in the middle of the track, definitely has a chance.
Yeah. Having another great meet again, as you would expect from Emma Jane Wilson. Chase, while you have the floor here still, Steph asks a really important question here.
Yeah, Rosie had puppy class this morning, or this, a couple hours before, and then she sleeps for hours after puppy class is over. Like, it's, she goes to class for 1 hour, she's done for the day. And I actually got the house to myself. My wife took my daughter to a community theater performance of The Wizard of Oz. So my daughter will learn today that not all pain is physical. Living the dream right now.
Oh my God. Chase Sessoms, folks. Horse is headed onto the track for the Woodstock Stakes. Or not yet. They're still circling a little bit there in the saddling enclosure. There's No Balls, the horse we've been talking about ad nauseum here. There, right there is the 7, one of the longer shots we've also mentioned here, Determined Kingdom, second in that Animal Kingdom Stakes. And there, look, there's Emma Jane Wilson right now, heading out. Number 6 right there is All in Sync. We haven't said much about this horse, have we? I feel like we haven't. Do we like All in Sync? The horse is 6-1. I wasn't sure what to make of this one. Kind of, I don't know, not confusing for him, but just, hasn't run on an all-weather track. Comes in for Steve Asmussen. You see Steve Asmussen from time to time at Woodbine, but not necessarily, I believe he won he won the Halo again. He won the plate trial within 2020, 2 years ago. But I don't know. What do we make of this horse? JD, you're good at reading between the lines with some of these horses that chip in.
Well, here's what I'll tell you, and this may be all the ABR fans need to know. This is Rin Carruthers' play of the day at Woodbine, is the 6 All in Sync here in the Woodstock Stakes. I think very similar to a lot of what we've been talking about and what Chase has been talking about with the pace setup here is, giving a chance to a horse coming from off the pace, making one run. Now, I will say that I like the horse a lot more closer to the morning line, which we're going to get with the 2 defections at 15-1 than the 6-1 that we're seeing right now. I think the 9's a little more proven on the synthetic as a closer. And I would prefer to go that way if I'm looking at a closer here, or obviously the 3 for Emma Jane, also a closer that's had a lot of success at Golden Gate. But the 6 is a very interesting horse, and obviously if Rin Carruthers is tipping it on the Woodbine website as her play of the day, ABR fans know to take heed.
There we go. Jessica, talk some outsiders here. Talk some crazy scenarios. If you want to have fun betting this race, what do you do?
I really like Determined Kingdom. I think Phil Schoenthal really puts them where they can be competitive. He obviously thinks this horse is a stakes quality, stakes type horse, kind of trying to get that black type win at Turfway the last couple. And at 11-1, I think he can just kind of sit off of those front runners and make a run. To me, he looks like a horse who is going to get better the more distance he gets. He's a big, long, rangy type of horse, big stride, even when he's not on the correct lead. So he does cover ground really efficiently. I wouldn't leave him out of my exotics at all. And I understand, a horse like Unraptured looks awfully tough here. Ironstone of the Ontario breds, I do think is my top selection, but that really depends pace wise. I think Admar Santos just needs to let this horse go.
Yeah. So now they will be heading out to the track here at Woodbine. There's Jennifer, who you referenced earlier, JD, with the was it the Queen's Plate rankings? Is that what it is? The Path to the Plate rankings? Is that what it's called?
Yep, on Canadian-bred.com, and she's giving out her late pick 4, which is something she's doing every day this meet here at Woodbine. So we're kind of getting a sneak here, and obviously she hates everybody here because she's hitting the all button.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, what that tells me more than anything, what that expresses to me is a lack of confidence in your favorite, right? And then who knows how they might stack up after that, I guess is the thought. I don't know. I'm still on. I get the track isn't necessarily playing favorably to all front runners, but I do think this horse can squirt free early. You got the rail. You got some of this, we talked about the weirdness with your 4-horse Ironstone trying to settle. I don't know. If they look, the horse gets sent and, can stay close. Yeah, potentially that compromises No Balls a little bit, but I don't know. I'm still pretty confident in the 1. And I do like the horse that Emma's on for Roger Radfield, Unraptured. I think this horse's only losses, by the way, I don't know if this was mentioned at any point here, but You know, 2-back going in the El Camino Real Derby while off Lasix, and then in the second career start, which was 5 furlongs on the turf. So again, off Lasix, the horse is back on Lasix here, and that's significant, I think. There's really not much not to like about the 3-horse, especially if you do believe that there will be pace on. If you don't think the 1 is going to be loose, I think the 3 makes a very logical, logical horse for a horse just sitting right off the pace. So I don't know, Jess and JD, I don't know if we got your full thoughts on the 3-horse here.
JD.
Yeah, so the 3-horse is my top pick in this race, and really it comes down to, I just expect the 1 and the 4 to really hit the pace hard up front. I will say that I am 1, 3, 4, and 9 in the multi-race exotics, so obviously I'm taking a large portion of the field. I'm not taking everybody. One of the things from talking about this before we went on air, Dan, are you surprised that No Balls is 2-1 in this spot? I think you were expecting
I am.
A little more money to be thrown in that direction.
I am. I mean, like, I'm not seeing a price right now that would make me necessarily want to make a win bet. But I mean, it's sort of like that concerning area, right? It's like, it's not good enough to bet on, but it's obvious the horse is obviously lukewarm enough on the board where I expected him to be about 4 to 5. So it's slightly concerning. I don't know how much money's in the win pool at this very moment. And by the way, JD, if you had mentioned that the 3 was your topic earlier, you know this, but I'm clicking around here. I'm pulling video banners. I'm sorry. I don't get everything. So sorry. I make you repeat things. I don't know if I did, but if I did, I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not operating at 100% here either, Dan. So apologies if I meant to say it and didn't. But
to be fair, he had to remind me that we hung out for an entire weekend before we went on air. Memorable? I'll tell you what it is I saw the AirPod and I was like, who's this guy with the earring? I didn't realize it was an AirPod. I thought you were rocking like a big like hoop earring. I was like, I don't know this guy. Who's this man?
We at America's Best Racing, we try to show people who might be new to the sport of racing some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So like what you're seeing right now, like this is the show, right? This is the concert. This is the game that everyone showed up to watch. But there's all this preparation that goes on before it. And we decided to send out our social media correspondent, Isabella Leslie, to the backside, the barn area where the horses, live and are cared for. And the idea was, at least in some of these videos, she would actually throw herself into these situations, doing the work that it takes to keep a horse fit and, truly on its feet. When we show you the video we're about to show you, I want to show you Isabella Leslie putting or actually removing a shoe from a horse. If you think that that's just sort of a routine thing, I guess for the pros it is. Take a look at this and then envision yourself doing what Isabella is doing right here.
I'm Isabella Leslie with America's Best Racing, and today I'm going to learn what a blacksmith does.
Here's your chaps. We're going to teach her how to pull the front shoe off and get the foot prep for a new shoe.
Okay.
Sorry, my waist is probably a lot
Are these
bigger
designer?
than yours. Oh yeah, those are Gucci's right
Gucci.
there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab this leg. We're going to put it up on this little stand right here. We're going to try to knock these nail heads off. Just put it inside your leg like this. So what we'll do is you're going to get at the very back, kind of get up under just a little bit, and kind of pull down, but you kind of want to pull at an angle this way just a touch.
Okay. Flip around just like this, right?
Yep.
Okay. Clamp right here.
Yep.
Do you ever have requests to make special shoes, like red bottoms or?
Not yet, I haven't.
And they don't feel this, right?
Nope.
It's kind of just like you cutting your own nails.
Yep. No, exactly. It's just kind of trimming your own nails.
You got it. The magic shoe.
Now I'll let you brush it all out and get it ready for me.
So how'd I do?
Ooh, I wouldn't quit my day job just yet.
Actually, she did pretty well. I mean, I was like, to my eyes, like she did great. She seemed to have a harder time, strapping on that belt than actually taking the shoe off. Jess, we talked about this. This is just sort of run of the mill work for you, right?
No, I mean, not really. Like, no hoof, no horse is like the truest statement ever. I would personally take a bullet for my farrier. A good farrier is worth their weight in gold. So I mean, this is some hard work, and all of those little things there's so much that goes into keeping these horses happy and healthy and ready to do the job we're asking them to do.
Mm-hmm. Chase, you've obviously done some manual labor when it comes to caring for horses.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Emotional support. That's what I provide. I'll let the real masters of their crafts actually, take care of their physical needs. I'm just there to pet them, feed them, and shush them. Even though they're not saying anything, I shush.
What were you saying, Jess?
They like him better for that. They would much prefer that to like someone asking them to do something.
Hey. I also say hey. I get their attention and then I shush them. I don't get it.
How about you, JD? Much horse care in your background?
Muck some stalls. That's about as far as far as I go there. But I will say, farriers, they don't get a lot of the credit that they deserve, and especially like on race day where you've got outriders that are also farriers that are out at the gate and are there for last second repairs and that sort of thing. Everybody scoffs, oh, it's a delay because of a shoe repair. Doing a shoe repair on the track is one of the hardest things that a farrier can do, and they do it without issue, making it look like it's the simplest of tasks. So hats off to the farriers at tracks such as Woodbine.
Yeah, I feel like there are a million different jobs at the track that are sort of like the way you think of the accountant who helps you with your taxes. You're like, oh, I could just go on myself and just do my taxes, and then you try doing it and you're like, oh my God, like this is like I cannot do my taxes. Like I need help. Like there are a million different jobs that are like far more technical and require like precision and like a degree of experience that that's why I think the series is going to be fun. And we're just started the series. So whenever you get a chance, check out americasbestracing.net. You'll see Isabella in a variety of roles that perhaps seem a little easier or we kind of don't think of that often, but in fact are require a lot of skill. So we are 3 minutes to the Woodstock Stakes. Again, if you're watching right now, we thank you for joining us for Woodbine Live. This is our kickoff show on the path to the plate. The one horse drifting up even further. 5-2 right now on No Balls, and your favorite, your co-favorite at least, but slight favorite, is Ironstone. So the local horse, the horse with his eyes set on the Queen's Plate, now 2-1, clear-cut favorite. I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, I don't know. Like, what is the scenario in which this horse wins? I mean, we've already established he struggled when he tried to rate, and he's not going to be alone in the lead. So how does he win this race?
I mean, I think it just depends how much pressure you can take, right? I'm not using No Balls on any tickets, for the record.
Ooh. I'm all alone here.
I will be using him, but in third place in a trifecta. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm going to key the two horses I anticipate being on the front and third place in this, and I'm going to use the 3 Unraptured, and then I'm also going to use Silent Runner on top in a trifecta. I'm going to wheel in all in the middle, and then I will put my 2 speeds underneath. I often get way too cute with my handicapping and ticket structure, so I might as well just go. I mean, be a corgi in a sailor suit at this point with how cute I'm getting with this one.
By the way, Silent Runner, you're getting some support here in the chat. Ship at 59 likes Silent Runner a lot. Colleen, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you hopping in, and glad you're enjoying the show. Big drop there on Silent Runner. Went from about 11-1 in like a flash or two down to 6-1. JD, what do you make of that?
Well, one of the things I will say, I think Silent Runner has a lot of talent, but I think we are going to see how much development we've had in the horse from H2 to H3 here, because we're going to ask this horse to do something completely different. When this horse has won, this horse has either been in the lead or right off the lead. And given how quick the horses are that are going to be in front in comparison, if you look at time, form, early speed ratings, or just sheer time, we're going to need this horse to rate if you're a fan. So this horse is going to, its development and how headstrong it may or may not be, I think is going to have a big determination of how this horse can sit. I think this horse might actually be the most talented runner in this race. I just don't know, first off the layoff, trying something new if this horse can get it done. But again, I included this horse on my multi-race exotics. I do think this horse has a chance, but that development is going to be key to watch here as we head towards the Queen's Plate.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it is a long path that we will be with you as we will be along this path here with you as we march toward the Queen's Plate in late August. The horse is now heading into the gate. Field of 9, scratched down to 7. That's the beauty of this game. We've got 2 different potential scenarios here that we've discussed. I am all for No Balls being on the lead and Loose on the lead, now taking a little bit of late money there, is going to go off probably as your favorite. Everyone else here does not like No Balls, and they think that he's going to be worn into the ground potentially by your four horse Ironstone, and that it might set up for some horses from off the pace. So let's see how it plays out. This right here is the Woodstock Stakes. Enjoy.
The runner goes up. A little hesitant, but has come forward. All in. Locker. Away they race in the Woodstock Stakes, and a distinct last is Unraptured, and best into stride, Silent Runner, Determined Kingdom. Coming to the lead easily is No Balls on the inside to go a length in front. Victory Jet goes up in second. Ironstone on the inside, trying to relax on the rail, is sharing third with Determined Kingdom. Silent Runner got behind them. 3 lengths away came All in Sync, and Unraptured is last. No Balls in front, a length and a half. Ironstone comes to a cozy second. 1 away third, Determined Kingdom moving up on the outside of, in the center, Victory Jet. Trying to make some ground is Silent Runner once again. Unraptured on the inside and All in Sync. No Balls unopposed, 2 lengths. Ironstone setting sail now. A length away, Determined Kingdom, Victory Jet, Silent Runner, Unraptured and All in Sync. No Balls a length in front. Full charge ahead now for Ironstone to challenge, and Determined Kingdom the outside. No Balls in front off the inside by a length and a half. Ironstone goes away now. No Balls. No Balls by almost 3 lengths. Ironstone second. Now coming home late is All in Sync from the clouds, but it's No Balls with a winning break. Out by about 3 lengths to All in Sync. And No Balls goes on to win the Woodstock Stakes by about 3. Second is All in Sync. A similar margin, Ironstone, then Determined Kingdom, followed by Silent Runner, Unraptured, and a long last, Victory Jet. 1-7-26.
Probably
sage advice from Chase in the private chat here. He writes, don't get cocky.
Yeah, he was still 3-2. Like you get to take a mild victory lap on this.
Yeah, you can boom that, but you only get to use 3 O's when you do it.
I mean, good job being right, which is also sometimes more satisfying than like even making money. But
hey, sometimes good horses outrun bias. That's what happened right there. That's for sure. I didn't see that, didn't get a clear look at the fractions, but I mean, it looked like they were going fairly quick, and he held.
I saw 21-4. Yeah.
Go ahead, and really, I mean, obviously got a great break and got just right out to the lead. Didn't have to ask, and we're going to get a look at the head-on here of the break in a moment here on the live feed, and you'll see that the one just breaks supremely and just gets right out to the lead, and the 4 stumbles and breaks in, and that might be your race right there.
Yeah. It looked like the 7 sort of broke outward a little bit, Determined Kingdom, that may have, sort of disrupted Silent Runner a little bit early. I didn't see, I mean, with Silent Runner, I was staring at the horse on the lead, just hoping he would hang on and maybe kick away. Did Silent Runner, was he wide throughout? I'm assuming
he was wide, but I think obviously, needed the race is what I think we can determine from this. And really it's always tough. And at the beginning of the year at Woodbine, and we've seen it through the first couple of weeks, the local horses that stayed over the winter have been doing well over the shippers. But in this case, in the stakes, the shippers finish 1-2 here.
And credit on the call to Ren and anyone else who liked All in Sync. I mean, the horse ran a nice race from pretty far off of it. I think made the most significant move late. So that was a nice little finish there at 8-1. Looks like our video's frozen temporarily here. Stephanie was asking if this horse will come to the U.S. I would assume that at some point here soon. I mean, I don't know exactly what the plan is with this horse, but Larry Rivelli had this horse at, in Kentucky, in Arlington last year, earlier, middle of the year, then to Del Mar, then Turfway Park. So it seems like this horse might very well be, headed somewhere else after this. Would you think maybe they leave him there for for at least.
I would think for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, just he clearly seems to prefer a synthetic track.
Yeah. So, looking in the comments here, if you got a winning ticket, or if you want to tell us about a losing ticket, we're all ears. You can drop them in the comments here. A couple of people here. I mean, Grover, I'm hoping you didn't make this bet. It came in very late, so I'm hoping you got shut out. If you got any comments, drop them in here. Otherwise, look, I think that was pretty straightforward. Any other observations, Chase? Any other trips? Anything interesting you take out of this race?
I mean, just wow, that was a pretty impressive run. Anytime a horse runs into what I perceive as a pretty strong bias, I always have to take note of that going forward into their next races. I mean, a horse that wins on the front like this on all-weather tracks consistently, that's impressive. That is something that's really hard to do. I mean, went 21 seconds, 21 and 2 at Turfway and ran the ground on the field. Now did the same thing at Woodbine. I mean, I think we just might have met, all-weather Hercules here, apparently, with no balls.
I think that, this is his first time on Lasix as well, and I wonder if that moved him forward another step, which helped him out a little bit there.
I will say, so JD, I don't know if what you just shared in the comments, something you want to share publicly. I mean, you could. It's a theory. I mean, it's
no. I would expect this was a 2-trip run for no balls. The King Corey on May 22nd kind of sets up for this horse as well. It's a move up to 7 furlongs. But I think based on what we saw, I don't think 7 furlongs is going to be an issue with this horse. The other thing I'll say, and I said it before the race now, 4 for 4 on 4 different synthetic surfaces for this horse. Obviously, one of those surfaces is rest in peace Arlington Park, but has won at Presque Isle and has won at Turfway, and now has won at Woodbine.
So they're doing the interview right now post race. I was hoping, and we could stay on for another minute or two, and we could watch a little bit of the replay here. I will say one trip that we didn't talk about, and we'll probably never get Emma Jane Wilson on this show again, based on the way things shook out there. But Unraptured, just totally missed the break. Really had no shot. I didn't see where the horse finished, but I mean, when you break like that, maybe a good bet back horse. I don't know. I didn't see how the horse finished up. Any thoughts on that one, Jessica? You follow that horse throughout the race? And
he fell. I didn't really see him on the screen at a certain point, so I followed him as long as I could. For a horse of his stature too, he is a short, compact, kind of sprintery type. Like, you're just at such a disadvantage when you spot the field a couple of lengths. He did nothing to me to make me that intrigued to give him another chance next time out for me. Though Determined Kingdom, you can tune into Colonial Downs, and I guarantee I will pick this horse every time. He's one I will get stuck on, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's always dangerous, kind of falling in love with one, and then you start making. That's their excuse.
I'm so guilty of this. That's my worst habit as a handicapper. I will be determined that they owe me one at a certain point. Like, this is going to be the time. It's never the time.
I used to do that, and then I decided the best way for me to move on was to actually write them breakup letters, like dear.
We should do that.
Dear combatant.
That's a great idea.
I just thought we were going places, and just had never really. This isn't working for me. It isn't working for you.
It's such a moment. It's such a horse, combatant. I mean, for the 3 viewers who know what you're talking about, who are along for that painful journey.
Yeah, to everyone at Sam Houston, I'm sorry for Holy Vow all year, all year. And I'll do it again next year. Don't worry, but because I don't learn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, it's another Roger Atfield horse. It's Lady Spitespear.
She comes close enough to just make you think, though, that the next time is going to be the time.
Yeah. So, and I will say, I don't think Emma Jane really asked the horse at any point after that break. I mean, I think they left a lot in the tank and only been on site for a week. I think obviously moving to the Atfield barn, a rare, one of the rare dual Hall of Famers in the Canadian and U.S. Hall of Fames for training. I mean, Roger will get this horse in the right spot. Maybe it's back to 1 Turn Mile, which is where I found the most success at Golden Gate Fields.
All right, so here we go. Here is the replay of the race. You could see the horse who's going to be last momentarily. I mean, actually, I don't know. The horse didn't really terribly
broke in a little bit and kind of pinched off her path there. It looks like.
Yeah. I thought that they just missed the break. It wasn't that. I mean, I think they were a step behind, maybe a step slow out of the gate, but it was really just kind of getting that little shuffle there. A couple of strides out that really compromised everything. So we could watch it now. I mean, I think you see a little bit of a move here. This is going to be obviously an early. It's hard not to panic in these situations. I just imagine for a jockey, it's like, I don't want to like use up the horse entirely right now, but how do you know exactly how much to use up to keep the horse with, in touch with the field, and not, completely just leave yourself too much of a gap to close late. So.
I also feel like, and this is not saying the jockey, I'm saying the horse itself. Like whenever you run into a horse like No Balls and what it did today, when they're sitting in the back of the pack and they know it's over, they just kind of say, "Whatever, dude. I'm just hanging out. All right, I'll run the rest of the way, but whatever. I'm not going to be hurt by this." So it's I kind of think that you see that a lot as you have these horses that will crush fields, and you kind of toss out their performances in these going forward because they just ran into a big horse and. Okay, I mean, move on to the next one.
Yeah. But I think there's something to that, though, in terms of like, if you're a horse who, all these horses are obviously super competitive. This is what they love to do. This is what they're bred to do, born to do. And you're running, and you finally kick it into top gear, and you don't see that gap closing between you and the horse in front of you. I mean, it's surely discouraging.
It can't be stated enough that they are, they're herd animals, right? So some of them are very happy to stay with their friends, even if they are competitive. They are, they find themselves in a group with their buddies and they're like, we are good. We are safe here. The mountain lions cannot catch us. And they stay a little close together. You see this in horses that hang or horses that kind of get themselves in a tight spot. And they're like, I'm good here. This is fine.
Yeah, the more I watch this replay, the more impressed I am by the finish by the 6-horse All in Sync. Really has to come wide and kicks quite nicely there on the outside. So, look, a couple of horses to keep an eye on moving forward, of course, as it relates to the path to the plate. Your Ontario breds in here, Ironstone. I thought ran an honorable race considering that didn't really run the race that he would like to run probably, right? He'd like to be alone in the lead. So that's one to certainly keep an eye on. In terms of some of the other ones, who's it? Determined Kingdom. Who's the other Ontario bred? Who am I missing? Silent Runner. Silent Runner. Yeah. So I mean a mixed bag here. I think No Balls. I'm interested in also seeing where he finishes up, where he shows up next, and then Ironstone. I think you might see an improved effort next out, depending on who else is entered to run in the race and where he can position himself earlier in the race. I'm glad Stephanie just dropped this in the comments because I was going to ask this question. Since we are only 6 days out from the Kentucky Derby, it would be sort of odd for a horse racing show to not even address what our picks and predictions are for the Kentucky Derby, although the post draw has not even happened. That happens tomorrow at Churchill Downs. Any brave soul want to kick us off here with a little bit of a derby pick or prediction?
I've said it since before the UAE Derby, Crown Pride.
Oh.
I am 100% all in Crown Pride. I have been 100% all in Crown Pride. The one concern I have is it does seem like we've had some pace defection, and this horse, while tactical, will probably be sitting 10th and needs that one run and needs to be needs at least a little bit of pace. We're not going to see Summers tomorrow, maybe might be a pace setter, but we'll see.
All right.
So I really like Crown Pride. Really, really like him. I think this everything the Japanese have invested in their breeding program is paying off. However, this post, I don't always think post draw really matters. Post draw really matters with this horse. If he draws like 1 or 2, with his seemingly predisposition to want to take a hard left out of the gate, I'm good.
I'm going to have this opinion will change 8 times before the actual running of the Derby. And I will settle on a horse that has some obscure angle going for it at some point. So obscure angle number 1, I'm kind of interested in Mo Donegal, seeing that Rapoli actually bought in to Mo Donegal a little bit before the Derby. It makes me think back to Creator in the Belmont and Bobby Flay getting on board, throwing his restaurant money at a Creator who's runs away with the Belmont. So
it might be cheaper to just buy into a horse though than try to get good Derby seats at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I like I said, that's going to change a lot. There are a few horses I like. It seems like a lot of the ones that I really liked decided to skip out for the Preakness. So, it's time for me to get really weird with who I picked to win this one.
Look, I'm going to mention a horse who, I think there are a lot of people who are just maybe ignoring that this horse is even in the race because of the potential. Let's see what the best word would be. I have a word in mind that's like a connecting word with two S's, but let's just say the chaos that would ensue, maybe. And that's Taiba. I got to see Taiba up close, the Santa Anita Derby. That horse is a beast. That horse is an absolute beast. We saw what he did. I mean, he made Messier look like he was standing still. And yes, he doesn't have much foundation. And yes, there's a lot of murkiness surrounding his overall, situation. I'll say it that way.
The real concern is he's run twice and brilliant.
Yeah.
But those crowds at Santa Anita on both of those days are entirely different than the Derby circus. I just can't imagine. I mean, if he can keep his brain in his head, like, more power to him. I think he's so mentally inexperienced and unprepared for what Churchill Downs is going to be like.
Yeah, I was at the maiden score for Taiba on track. It was a rainy day. It was early on in the card. There were maybe 3,500, 4,000 people in the stands.
And like Santa Anita Derby Day is great, but it's not the same.
But I've seen the horse in person, and Dan's seen the horse in person. And the one thing, it's one of these weird horses where if you look on horse build, I mean, this horse looks like a sprinter, built out like a sprinter. And then you look at the pedigree, and the horse is bred to run all day. I mean, there are rare types here that are just super freaks, but at some point, one's going to win out, either the horse physical or the breeding. And I don't know. I still don't know about this horse, if the horse has the ability to go that distance, but it's bred like it, but sure doesn't look like it to me. Looks like a beefy sprinter.
I have one that I think that just due to recency bias, people are just kind of forgetting about, but has the run style of a Derby winner. You've got Giants Causeway, you've got Candy Ride, both in that pedigree, is Epicenter. People, he's been laid off since Louisiana Derby. I mean, that early, speed, high, early pace, high cruising speed running style just wins derbies lately. And I think that's one that people, maybe people just keep out and I get a huge price on it.
And to close, I have one horse I want to ask you guys about, because it is a horse that is eligible for the Queen's Plate, and that would be Messier.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Messier in the Kentucky Derby?
He was better with Edmonton.
Boom. I like that.
Maybe he wins. Maybe he does. I also really like Barber Road. I don't know if Barber Road is good enough to truly win. I would not leave Barber Road off of any exotics. And I actually I know his workout's been a little, people are kind of going both ways about it. I liked that Tony Ortiz is trying to get him to pick up his feet and quicken a little bit at the end of the workout, because that's his problem, is he just doesn't have that quick turn of foot. And again, good company woman. He came from Colonial Downs, all in.
I will say, first of all, like Barber Road, we all have like our own method and our process, I think, around Derby. I think in years past, I've been like, right after the race, right after every Derby prep, I would write notes on each horse, and then I would kind of build upon them with their next Derby prep, and I'd go back and just so I had all their trips mapped out and all that. I haven't done that this year. So my process this year is to really kind of take a look with fresh eyes at all these horses, watch their replays, and then try to come up with an assessment, a vision in my mind of how I think the race might unfold from a pace perspective. But as it relates to like Messier, for example, I can see a situation where Messier, I don't want to say he's loose on the lead, but I mean, is up front. And we've seen Johnny V in the Derby the past, 3 years? he's gone to the lead and no one's challenged him. And he's had the fastest horse every time. I think you can argue that if he really asked Messier, he might have the fastest horse in this Derby. So look, there's certainly a scenario that has Messier there on the lead, and then whether he hangs on or not is the question. He's been inconsistent, or not as consistent as we've seen some runners and preps coming out of that barn in the past. But that being said, if you just judge him on nothing but his past performances in the actual races he's run, you can see a scenario in which he gets to the front and stays there. And I think you might get a slightly inflated price because of the way Tyba ran past him in the Santa Anita Derby, and he's a little bit of a forgotten horse. Nonetheless, whatever happens, I think it'll be exciting to see him, you would imagine, targeting the Queen's Plate.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, so that'll be really nice.
I'll like him on Wednesday and then change my mind again on Thursday.
Awesome. Well, look, this has been Woodbine Live. We've covered a whole lot of ground. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of a Derby chat we did. But all the focus the rest of the season here on these shows will be Woodbine and the Path to the Plate. The next time we're with you is on June 12th for the Queenston Stakes as we continue the Path to the Plate, and a lot more after that. So stay with us here. Follow us. Follow americasbestracing.net. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you next time. Chase, Jessica, JD, thank you. Good seeing you. Good luck at the Derby.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it,